So first off, you had Hellenic Jews, Jews that heard the Old Testament faith in the Greek language. And it's important to understand what that means, because when you take a faith system and put it into another language, the reality is the words do not always translate verbatim, word for word. It is also that another language has certain ideas and beliefs, and that influences and colors how people see, experience, and understand things. So the first group is Hellenic Jews. The second group is what has become called God-fearers. God-fearers were people that were found in the synagogues throughout the Roman Empire who saw something in the Jewish faith that attracted them and pulled them towards it. These were people, for various reasons, did not become full converts to Judaism. There were people that did. But we can think of, for example, the barrier created by food laws. The food laws of the Jews made it next to impossible for Jews to eat with Gentiles. Now, we're not talking about what the scripture says, but the practice of them led to, in the first century, a division that was very hard to bridge. For God-fearers who are men, there's obviously the issue of circumcision. Enough said on that one. And overall, there's just other issues here that is represented maybe by the fact that women often identified with the synagogue. And they didn't have the full legal rights that we may come to think as necessary. And so there would have been issues there for them to convert to Judaism because they lived under the authority of their spouse. So when we look at this, thirdly, we are talking about pagans. Now, the early church not only converted Jews in Palestine, they not only converted Jews who were Hellenic Jews, they not only converted people who were God-fearers, Gentiles moving towards Judaism, but all of a sudden in the book of Acts, they discover, let's cut out, as it were, the middleman, the middle steps. And they went out and began to convert people of no understanding of Judaism, who were pagans. People who had been steeped in the prevailing culture, which was probably would be polytheistic, and there are variations from city to city, place to place. They were people who might have bought into the idea of emperor worship. They might be people who worship their ancestors in various forms. In other words, we cannot put these all into one group because there's a variety of beliefs. Some common values, yes, but a variety of beliefs here. And so the spiritual needs of each of these people are going to be very different. Look at number 4, and here is where we're going to turn and apply this to the church today. Let us take what Acts says and see how it prefigures the church today. What would number 3 refer to? We talk about pagans. What type of person are we talking about reaching here? What about number 2 correspond to? We're talking about God-fearers, people who are willing to identify with Judaism, but their cultural roots are outside the church. How is the relationship to and understanding of the church different for each of these? And then thirdly, we could talk about people in the church who have a cultural heritage in the church. One of the things that we must do as a church, and is not always the easiest task to do, is evangelize people who have been in the church all their life. They are people who understand the faith, know the scripture, know how the church works, but they can be people who never have given their heart and life to Jesus. How do we begin to minister and work with each of these people and be sensitive to the various needs spiritually that are represented in these?